Hello, everyone. I certainly hope that you caught the first part of this daily Dharma. We went down a little bit of a rabbit hole where I was inspired to talk about some quantum physics of the consciousness embodiment process, inspired by a discussion from some people who are much more highly versed in physics and all of the sacred geometrical processes. So I did my best to channel that, but I would like to extend that by clearing my own understandings of that process as much as possible and asking the cards to step in and higher consciousness to step in and discuss whatever needs to come up. And as I said in the previous video, before turning on the camera, I had set the Sacred Geometry Code Activations deck and expressed something that had come through to the best of my capacity, but I had some other cards here that had been laid out in the pre-shuffle that I did not get to. So again, this is a continuation of that message. So I was in the midst of the channel highly at that point, and I'm seeing here on the Tao messages that were laid out here, I have the master number 22 popping out, and under the deck, master number 33, as I saw the counter say 133. So the 22 card says, if you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. But in my head, I just literally saw, if you want to become whole, let yourself become a portal. Incredible. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. The master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can trust his words. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. When the ancient masters said, if you want to be given everything, give everything up, they weren't using empty phrases. Only in being lived by the Tao can you truly be yourself. So being a portal for consciousness to speak through us, creating ourselves as a conduit of spirit and matter, lets our voice actually create. It's almost like this sonar emanation coming from the depths of our connection with ancestral wisdom, Akashic wisdom, and the will of divine will, if you will. Number 33, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. If you stay in the center and embrace death with your whole heart, you will endure forever. And to me, we're talking here between the two of these as being a vessel, being capable, willing, and able to sort, sift, and to burn away the indifference that happens by being overwhelmed, by overloading a circuit. It shuts down. And so creating emptiness within, creating unknowing, such as there is a lot of mental energy spent and consumed when there's conflict energy. But when we can allow ourselves to say, I no longer necessarily require the certain amount of charged external conflict energy to promote the growth that I'm ready to receive. I am ready to learn by resonance and to let the resonance speak before I become out of alignment with resonance, and therefore necessitating the friction to speak us back into center. So if we're immersed in the extremity of that, knowing ourselves through duality, knowing ourselves through recognizing boundary, imposed boundaries, control and power from external sources, which we're all going to need that to a certain level. That's part of what we're doing here. But those that really live a life outside of center have more friction than those who are able to recognize tolerance and acceptance and the embodiment of our own empowered self-locus of control, the inner locus of control. We have that empty space in the center that's not filled with assigned logic and supposed understanding of what's wrong with a solution, with this need for solution based. Instead, we can become center based and be reborn in every moment, in emptiness, in wisdom rather than strategy and navigation and manipulative energies. We become sculptors rather than manipulators, if you catch what I'm going there. And then abundance versus the scarcity frequency is also coming in. So out of the deck that I've created, I got Gemini with then walking away and completion, leveling up. And so this I took as a symbol of Gemini being the twins. It's the mirroring prospect of knowing ourselves through the mirroring process of others. It's the differentiation, individuation process that we are definitely immersed in right now with the ecliptic plane, astrologically speaking, in the axis of Aries and Libra. That is self amongst the tribe. That is learning who we are based upon what we witness in our environment. It's our health being based on the tribe and the tribe's environment and well-being dependent upon the efforts of the individuals. So under the deck, I'm clearing my space and energy for this. Chakra activation, be still, integrate, balance, meditate. I am sovereign. And under that, I feel triggered. Self-protection and old trauma, and root chakra comes up next, with then goat. That's greatest of all time, highly protected and provided for by the divine. I love that. So to me, I'm seeing duality here being evidence of the cognitive dissonance of encountering the borders of our own energy, where we meet up against others and recognize that point of friction. And do we engage conflict, scarcity, competition frequency, or do we engage integration, synergy, cooperative energies? Creative force is created. Creativity is created by our interaction with the environment. So clearing our space and walking away from any toxicity or any old resonance with the lower attachment, the lower addictive energies. We're clearing our time, space, and energy to be able to nest in the higher frequency. This year is critical in this, and we're doing better than we may esteem ourselves as. So that chakra activation is well underway, and that's why we're coming up against some of that so-called darkness as we recognize the shadow. It's the dark matter is literally divine potential. All potentiality is part of that womb, that encapsulation process of the rebirth process of where we're at, the yuga. We're going from, many say, from the Kali Yuga into the really long term. I believe it's called the Kali Durga. No, it was Durga. Anyways, if you know it, then you'll be able to follow that. But the chakra activation is the next step in our clarification process. It's clearing out our vessel. It's clearing up the earthly matters. Things are not as they appear is over here on the deck. And then I have on the archetype deck, I had Eros pop out, and under the deck was Agape. And at first I thought, yes, Eros is our ability to communicate life, and life begets life. Life is self-replicating and creates progeny and offspring because that's the expansion process. Cells in the growth process expand. And so it's more than just our primal sexual energy that's being called up. It's our literal Kundalini energy and the thread of life and consciousness that we're able to engage those passionate so-called primal sexual energies towards the divinity and the expression of that extremely potent, intense inner fire. Inner flame, isn't that the channel that there's something about the Dan Winter channel again? And I'll link this video that inspired me so much down in the description box below here. And yeah, check out any of the content of the individuals that are on these. They're really brilliant minds that are really here just as another tool and resource that can help us to all heal ourselves on that deeper level that sometimes eludes ourselves because there's just not a lot of content on some of the woo-woo channels. It can help us through the psychosomatic and the psychological pitfalls. It can help on so many levels, healing physical, mind, body, spirit. But this really, the physics level, really puts it all together if you have that scientific capacity to understand and to follow it and to channel. And so the next thing coming in with Eros and Agape being more the universal, divine, unconditional love, these two together were telling me about the divine union of masculine, feminine essences and energies, the Shakti and Shiva energy, that Kundalini tantric union that is depicted with sometimes the love languages between masculine and feminine, where the individuated self is in the pursuit of passion and pleasure and self-gratification on either material or cosmic levels. It can be as divine as you can imagine and beyond. And then the agape being the transcendent, ecstatic experience of surpassing the risk and the death and the longing process for the fulfillment process. It's ultimately moving from that point of scarcity into exponential capacity. We are all capacitors, energetic capacitors. So on the bottom of the deck is conception. I feel like that's us conceiving a new way to be with our passions, the utilization of our passions, not becoming too distracted by assigning some type of meaning or guilt or shame or anything else to that sexual energy. And I became aware of somebody that I know that has even said that he's doing this 100-day thing of withholding his sacred energy and trying to create a sacred experience for himself. And I wanted to just call out that if that is something that periodically you engage in your life by choice or otherwise, there's a way to transmute longing and the preconditioned primal material need for that physical release can be transmuted into things such as physical activity, inspired creativity, and divine ecstatic connection with the divine. And the more of that energy that we are able to house and hold without creating undue pressure, we become luminous. Yes, a change in the way that we conceive. This is a change in the way that we are able to manifest based on the creative energy, which is obviously one of the channels to creating physical life. It's a channel to creating enlightenment and consciousness energy as well. Many of us already know this, but the other part of the message is that these are love languages, and we can speak these into being. Instead of objectifying our life and our goals and ourselves and our esteeming of ourselves and others, the judgments that we hold, the beliefs that we hold, we can surpass the limitations of our self-imposed beliefs and become the gravitational force field in our lives, and attract more abundance and more prosperity, first in spirit and then magnetizing on all levels. There will be evidence of this coming in. And I just wanted to real quick show this agape card, because look at how it's also like the caduceus here in this depiction of all these various lights. Some are inverted, some are upright. And then this and this here, top and bottom, were kind of telling me about the earth star chakra and our soul star chakra, talking about our deeper connection and nesting our frequency and our chakra system, our Merkaba field within the field of Mother Earth. That Earth Star Chakra is our connectivity to the gravitational force field of the Mother on any level, because it's symbolic and it's all in octaves. So whatever level is speaking to you is true. And then the Soul Star Chakra connects us and embeds us into the frequencies of the becoming process of the solar system, the cosmos, its ever expanding nature, and the divine nature that's it's the spark of life, of consciousness from the above, and it's the resources and the chemistry that comes from below. So the chemistry is the below, the mother, and the activation, the seed catalyst is the above, I guess. Crown chakra and change. Yeah, there's some belief patterns in the way, some old gaslighting, self-gaslighting, whatever, that has interfered with our ability to connect to our divine channel. But we're clearing it up now. We're clearing our space and energy. Time and space is clearing. This has something to do with the solar activity and the inbound plasma ejecting processes, whatever that is going to impart on our consciousness and impact our physicality, is going to assist us in clearing space and time for what is ready to come in. These eclipses here is release to receive. We're clearing something in order that we can become empty and to house a new consciousness for ourselves, a new empowered self persona, to utilize our passions as an authority, and with authority in leadership. We are the light bringers. I know this sounds kind of like some of that woo-woo stuff, but we'll have to apply it to our own situations, I guess. Then we have cosmic flower and authority, our own authority on our own healing process on the physical level and environmental level. There's new ways to integrate with creation of solutions by shifting our own beliefs and values. And I don't mean like your values and morals and ethics, as far as to stop justifying those things that harm us on multiple octaves, whether it's harming the universe or not. There are many things that we can do that are a little bit taxing to get used to, such as replacing our dependence and attachment to plastic, and utilizing the plastics that are in existence and transforming those chemically into something more usable, such as, let's say, like a recycled roadway or something, playground mulch that's a little bit softer and flexible. There's all these things coming in for us. All right. Consciousness, yes. Consciousness on the bottom of the deck. Sorry if that paused the video for a moment there. I'd like to close this one out. So this is definitely talking about being influenced. On the bottom here, 17, many hands of the goddess. We are being supported by so many factors and guides, guardians, ancestors. The higher we climb in our own consciousness, in our own ability to create health and well-being on so many levels, and so many of us working towards similarly charged objectives, we are really profoundly shifting the consciousness of the earth this year. And I believe that this year of the dragon is really going to deliver us through an incredible portal this year. And we're hearing that we are the portals that are delivering. We're delivering. It's reminding me of the birth process, rebirthing through the portal. I think we'll stop here. I'll just give you a quick little look at those, and I'll give you a little read. So we've got 22 here is reminding us of the 22 Tao. You can rewind that, about becoming whole by accepting that the extremities, the boundaries, the limitations kind of allow us to recognize what's right for us. The detours determine the pathway. So number 22, beloved mother who dwells in the smoke. Oh yes, the smoke out of that video. If you get the smoke thing, I definitely want to talk about that too. But I'm running out of time. Ah, yes. 22, beloved mother who dwells in the smoke, who presides over the most difficult of transitions. She who knows that certain endings are unavoidable. They are necessary predecessors to radical reinvention or rebirth. And we've got a Mercury retrograde coming up to go through that with. Her presence brings the message that though disappointment, defeat, or loss, and the negative repercussions of such experiences may cause suffering for a time, they will not limit your future happiness. They are a means for opening as yet unrecognized pathways and portals of and for fulfillment. Your trust must be unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything has worked out for the absolute best. We are being delivered to someplace unmarked, and it's going to take that faith that comes through the release process. And if you're holding on to something until something better comes, sometimes the advice is you need to clear the space before you can put something else in your hands. You need to set down your groceries, right? And 28, Guya Kali, our divine mother who knows all, with every answer and every mystery within her power to disclose, provides knowledge at the right time and in the best possible way. An answer to your question shall be provided. Do not immediately dismiss intuitions that are unexpected or lead you into unknown territory. Rest and reflect upon your insights, allowing your wisdom, rather than a reaction, to distill their usefulness and value. An entirely new perspective about a matter of importance is awakening. A secret shall be revealed, and all you need to know will be given to you. So, yes, there's something about the smoke where we talk about our alignment and centering process brings us into the space where all these matters come back around and recirculate. That's the recursive flow that follows that donut toroidal pattern. And it's the emptiness inside, the axis that is happening on, that is the inhabitable space for our spirit to root deeply into our chakra system and activate that chakra system for this next leg of the journey. And it's going to come and present itself in unexpected ways to shake us and surprise us and delight us into awakening, and sometimes fear and otherwise, and shake us into accepting what we're resisting. And so the resistance will educate. And the smoke, there's something about, as we are in that flow, there's the resistance along the perimeter, that friction between Merkaba fields of self and others, self and environment. The resistance is what continues to polish the sharp edges of our auric shield, if you will, to polish the residue into gems and pearls of wisdom. And so this getting shiny phase is something to be really settled into and reflected upon, because we'll miss the point of it if we move too fast through our process. The portal is that narrow space there, that as we expand the emptiness, the axis of the inside here, then we can allow ourselves to pass more peacefully through that portal, through that birth canal, if you will. And the smoke, they talked about the smoke in that video. And if you've ever observed smoke, you can see how the smoke rises, but then within that smoke, you can see sometimes little corkscrews here and there. And it's as that smoke in its gas phase of matter is, it's being impacted by perhaps outer exertions of that centrifugal force pushing against it. It turns in its own little trajectories within that. It's like the nested frequencies spinning in opposing directions, like wringing a towel. And there will be more building on that message in future, is what I'm hearing. But stick with us as I figure out what the hell I'm talking about, because if you followed the channel, or if you have your own channel, sometimes these things, they come in bite-sized pieces where we are meant to explore one area before developing upon it, and sometimes we need to go backwards and rehash other things. But there's definitely something over this eclipse portal and the Mercury retrograde that's happening in April of 24 that is really going to be critical to setting up the consciousness, the wringing out of consciousness to burn away the what no longer belongs, to release, to receive, because this process at the spring equinox in the northern, fall and southern, as you know, this is the precursor to the later in the year eclipse portal, where we'll be dealing with perhaps the flip side of this process. So we're building upon our enlightenment right now. So I'm wishing you so much inspiration and creative change in your life, and so much peace and centering and aligning with this process. So take care of you, and don't forget, if you have any inspiration or people that you follow on YouTube that have incredible physics on consciousness, something specific to consciousness and physics, if you would keep it to that, you can feel free to drop some of those links in the comments below. I'm very interested in creating a community with you guys for this consciousness excursion, and these rabbit holes are part of that process, that magical process. So take care of you, and check back later this week, or for some other timeless messages that exist. Check out all of the videos already here. Thank you so much. Take care.